Welcome to a new episode of Ausfahrt.tv in what I call English, and I'm your host, Mr. Z. Today I'm presenting you the all-new Volkswagen Passat Alltrack, which is a sort of all-terrain version of the Passat estate. And I'm going back in time in 1974. I was still a little boy, 3 years old. Volkswagen presented the first Passat, the B1. A year later, 1975, they presented the first vehicle of Volkswagen with the all-wheel drive. It was the van, the Bulli, which we call Bulli, the T2. In 1984, the Passat, second product generation, got the all-wheel drive as well. And now we do a little time jump, sort of, time slip. We are in 2011, so 2011, Volkswagen at the Tokyo Motor Show presented the first generation of the Passat Alltrack. So a little bit uplifted version of the Passat. In 2014, they presented the 8th product generation of the Passat, and this year, 2015, in Geneva, they presented us the all-new Passat Alltrack. That's the car we are showing you today. And since I grew up with the first product generation, I like to mention that the 8th, so this product generation, is not only 20 centimeters wider, but also 70 centimeters longer. So that's a proof cars just grew over the time. Well, just a tiny bit of technique, because, well, in English it's hard for me to explain, even in German, because I don't know nothing about cars actually, you know. So back in time when they started to have the first all-wheel drive systems, it was basically you had an engine, the engine was giving all its power to some connection, and this connection was trying to give power to all four wheels. And the power was divided in 4 parts actually. All wheels got the same power. Then they said, well, that's, you know, pretty hard, so we need to cut in the middle and say, well, we drive with front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, and whenever we need the power, we just push the hook, and then we have all-wheel drive. Still, all the power on all wheels. And nowadays, for example, here in the Volkswagen Passat Alltrack, we have an intelligence system, a outtakes system, and the car is front wheel driven, but there's a permanent connection to the rear wheels or to the rear axis, and whenever the system or all the electronics feel the need that you need torque on the rear axis, it gives a little bit of torque to each wheel that is in need. And that is the advantage, that the fuel consumption goes down because you don't, you know, rotate all the wheels all the time. So better fuel consumption, still pretty good road conditions, because whenever there's a need of torque or traction, or the traction is losing, you just give some power to this wheel that is losing traction. No, that's wrong, actually. You give the traction to the other wheels. Never mind. Okay, so do we have competitors? Yes, we do. Actually, we had a review of the Volvo V60 Cross Country, and there's the Audi A4 Allroad. And we have, at least in Germany, the Opel Insignia Country Tourer. Well, for the market start, Volkswagen is offering the Passat Alltrack with 4 different powertrains. We have one gasoline engine. By the way, all engines are 2-liter engines, and they all have a lot of torque, so you can pull trailers with it. And big trailers, heavy trailers. Each engine or each car, regardless of the engine, can pull trailers up to a weight of 2.2 tons. So we have strong engines in here. We have a gasoline engine, 2-liter and 220 horsepower. We have 3 diesel engines, TDI engines. The first one has 150 horsepower and comes with a manual 6-speed. Second one has 190 horsepower, comes with a 6-speed DSG dual clutch transmission. And the biggest one has 240 horses. And this one comes with a 7-speed dual clutch DSG automatic transmission. By the way, all the models come with a 4-motion on all-wheel drive that I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the heart of our test car. I mentioned it, a 2-liter TDI, 4-cylinder of course, with the smallest version, so 150 horses. It's good for maximum. And I would really like to hire Erica from Fast Train Daily because she says torque in such a sexy way. However, we have 340 Newton meters of torque here as a max, and you get some inner range between 1,750 and 3,000 RPM. And well, of course, it's a manual 6-speed we have here, and of course, as I mentioned it, 4-wheel drive, the 4Motion system. Well, now let me give you the basic facts about our test car with the 150 diesel horses. Acceleration from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour in 9.2 seconds. And the top speed is reached at 205 kilometers per hour or 127 miles per hour. The gas tank of the Passat Alltrack is good for 66 liters or 70.5 gallons. Volkswagen claims a fuel consumption of just 4.9 liters on 100 kilometers or 48 miles per gallon, which means that under perfect conditions you can drive up to 1,340 kilometers or 830 miles without getting gas. In terms of CO2 emission, the Volkswagen Passat Alltrack with 150 diesel horses sets free 130 grams per kilometer, according to Volkswagen. The Passat Alltrack has a length of 4.78 meters, which equals 188 inches, with a wheelbase of 2.79 meters, which equals 110 inches. It is 1 meter and 53 centimeters high, so 60 inches, and 1.83 meters wide, which equals 72 inches. From mirror tip to mirror tip, it's even 2 meters and 6 centimeters or 81 inches. As of the turn radius, you need at least 11.4 meters of free space or 449 inches. The curb weight is 1,851 kilograms or 4,081 pounds. The admissible total weight is 2,260 kilograms, which equals 4,982 pounds. In Germany, our test car would cost around about 54,500 euros. Okay, for the Passat E-State version, we have 3 different option lines. The option line for the Alltrack is just Alltrack, so it's an own option line. It's based on the comfort line of the Passat E-State version. And the product guy told me, well, if you put a regular Passat E-State next to the Alltrack, it seems like the Alltrack with the same options is 3,000 euros more expensive, while the Alltrack line offers you certain items that have a value, and so overall you save 2,000 euros. Well, at least in Germany. It might be different on your market. So how do you recognize the Alltrack version? You have the Alltrack badge here, but that's not all, of course. The bumper is shaped in a different way. So we have here the silver plate, which is supposed to show, hey, off terrain, you know, it's protecting the car from whatever is on the road. And we have the silver winglets here with certain fog lamps that are different from the regular model as well. And by the way, the engine is protected, of course. There's a shield protection under the engine. So when you have heavy terrain, the engine is protected. And what I think is pretty neat, in the model before, in the B7, they had a steel version, and now they have a hard plastic version, and they saved up to 16 kilograms just exchanging the material of this part, and I think that's pretty amazing. Our test car would actually come with big xenon headlights, but we have the optional LED headlights, and you can get LED light in 2 variations. At least in Germany, the simple system costs 1,000 euro extra, and the multi-beam system costs 2,000, a little bit more than 2,000 euros extra, and then you get this dynamic cornering light, and you know, where the traffic who encounters you or is driving ahead of you is not getting your high beams in the mirror and all that. So, by the way, the day running light is made with 32 single LEDs, while the turning signal below has 12 LEDs. Very important, isn't it? So how do you recognize a Passat Alltrack from the side? Once again, same joke, haha, by the badge, you know. Now, of course not. Well, it has a little bit more ground clearance than the regular Passat E-State version, 27.5 millimeters. So just 3 centimeters, or not even 3 centimeters. That's not a lot, but still I think a bunch of people who will drive on gravel roads and so on will appreciate those 3 centimeters, almost 3 centimeters. Besides that, from the optic we have this plastic protection around the fenders and down here at the doors, and even right down here the same metal optics than in the front. Besides that, the I don't know the word. I'm sorry. Well, the silver stuff right here and down at the mirror caps. I have to look up the word. Maybe you help me out. That's specific for the Alltrack version as well. Our car, by the way, is painted in tungsten silver metallic. It's one of 14 colors you can choose from. My personal favorite is a special color that is only available for the Alltrack version. It's called Habanero Orange Metallic. Pretty awesome. By the way, this color costs extra, the color we have here. By factory setting, the Passat Alltrack stands on 17-inch alloys, while we have the optional 18 inches on our car. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hold your breath. The license plate of the Passat Alltrack is illuminated with LEDs. Isn't that exciting? Well, I'm just mentioning it because there's not too much to show here. We have a little spoiler on the roof, the side blades for the better aerodynamics of the back. We have full LED rear lights. And that's really full LED all the way, no light bulbs inside. And as an option, you can get them in dark red. I'm not really sure if we have the regular ones or the dark red ones. Well, the dark ones are optional, so you have to pay extra. By the way, I'm sorry, how do you recognize Passat Alltrack from the rear? By the badge. Sorry, I missed this joke. Then we have the bumper in the same color than the car. We have a little silver application or silver line that runs around the bumper, and down there, like in the front, the underrun protection in metal optic as well. And if you're wondering, the sporty back with those 2 big exhaust pipes, well, they're fake. The real exhaust sits down here and you don't see it. Okay, a little security-wise from my side. Well, it is still a little bit cold, but now I'm getting ready to get inside the car and show you around. And even in winter time, when you have your big jacket, you should take off your jacket before you enter the car, because the jacket always prevents you from really being, you know, a unit with the car. So you better take off your jacket whenever you enter the car to be all safe and protected. So now it's time for me to hop inside, show you around, and just to mention, this huge door opens in an angle of about 85 degrees, and we have an Alltrack badge in the door sill panel here. So we have those tiny bit of more ground clearance, which at least enables me to get into the car a little bit easier. You know, I'm old, you know, my back and all that. So I can just easily slip inside the car. I have to lean out just a little bit to close the door. Before I start with the regular program, I want to point out we have different pedals in here, like steel optics. We have a leather knob at the stick shift. And this application is specially made for the Alltrack version. The application is called Tracks. So that's it. Oh no, I just got in. What we do first in our reviews is check the materials we find in the test car. So we have a soft touch surface right here, then the application. Soft touch again down here. Even this is a little bit soft. And we have a 2-color interior. We got the leather seats or the leather interior, which is optional, of course. I told you, leather heel, leather on the steering wheel. All in all, I would say that's, yeah, I would even say it's premium appeal. I like it at least. We have hard plastics, by the way, here, just to mention it. Okay, the center is not facing me, which I think it's kind of sad, because in the Golf, for instance, the center is facing the driver, and I like driver-oriented cars. However, once you have driven one Volkswagen, you get along with the Passat Alltrack as well with ease, because everything is always right in place where you expect it, and you can reach everything easily. I'm 180 centimeters tall, so 5'11". I can sit in here just all right. I have lots of headspace, and I had no problems finding the right position so that I can have everything in reach, and I sit very secure in here. I will let Toby speak for himself now.
Hello from my side. As Jan told you several times before, I'm 195 centimeters tall, so 6'5", and I'm able to find a comfortable sitting position in here. I have enough space at the steering wheel. I can steer without touching my knees or my legs, and I'm even able to easily reach the pedals there. I have not so much headspace. As Jan told you, you've got the perfect sitting position when you're able to put your fist between your head and the ceiling of the roof. It's, yeah, not very much space there, but it's okay-ish. I can reach the headrest easily. I don't feel tightened or anything, and that's, yeah, it's kind of typical for Volkswagen, and that's fine. I want to mention one thing. The rear mirror is quite big, and from my point of view, it looks like that it's very low on the windscreen, because when I'm imagining cornering tight corner to the right or leaving the autobahn, I have to lean to the right or to dodge under the rear mirror to really see the road and everything. That's yeah, a bit unhandy, but it's okay. And the sunshade, whenever I want to use the sunshade to have a better view without the sun, I don't have any view at all, because everything I see is just the steering wheel and the sunshade, and there's not much left from the windscreen or the car at all. Yeah, but all in all, it's okay for me. It's just a typical Volkswagen. There's no problems. I'm fine here.
By the way, the windscreen is not like going down all the way, so it's not a spacious feeling you have looking in the front. But however, you sit in a nice car and you have lots of space to the side. I was driving with Toby on the passenger seat yesterday a lot, and you don't have a tight feeling or anything. You feel like you're sitting in a big car and you have lots of space. Well, at least big car for German, German conditions. If you think about America, you might say, well, it's a small car, but for us, this is a nice sized car. And I will start with our normal routine. You can adjust the height of the safety belt, which is always good because you want the safety belt right on your shoulder, and the safety belts itself are pretty long and in the same color than the interior, at least the seats. The seats, however, I had a little bit problems because they're ergo comfort seats, so they're supposed to be good for your back and you're supposed to sit here very nice. I had no problems finding the right position. However, I don't get along with the seats. They're comfortable, don't get me wrong. They even have a little massage function because the lumbar function is electrically, so you can adjust it electrically, and while you put on the massage function, it's sort of, moving in and out all the time and up and down a little bit, so you have a little bit release for your back once you have problems with your back. However, you have to adjust this way for the seat manually, so this is Toby position and this is all the way too, so you have a long range to find your right position. While the headrest you adjust electrically, and then again up and down is manual again. I don't really get this, but maybe it makes sense for some reason. And you can heat the seat up in 3 intensities, at least in our test car. The steering wheel, I'm a big fan of Volkswagen steering wheels. I'm honest, I think they always have the right size. They're not too thick, not too small. They're just the right size, and I like them. You can adjust the steering wheel manually. That's the radius you have to adjust it. And I had no problems finding the right position for driving my way. It's a multifunctional steering wheel, so you have buttons on the left side to control the speed limiter or the adaptive cruise control, and down here 2 buttons to control the volume of the infotainment system. On the right side, however, you have buttons to navigate through the board computer or the active info display it's now. And you can skip songs, take a call, hang up, or use the speech recognition function here. Yeah, that's it. The mirrors were quite surprising for me. They're a little bit small, actually, at least in the dimension of the car. However, you see everything you need to see in the rear, so you can see everything what's going on in the back. And the inner rear mirror helps you as well, and I really like this one because it's sort of frameless, so I think it looks pretty elegant. And you see the whole rear window even more. You even see the D pillars on both sides without even turning your head. So I like this a lot because you see really a lot. Turning my head around my shoulder, so we have a B pillar on the side, and that's not really small or thin, but it doesn't give you a really blind spot here. Turning my head around my right shoulder, the B pillar is fine, so is the C pillar, and even the D pillar, I was quite surprised, is pretty thin, so you really don't have a blind spot here. Besides that, our car is equipped with a bird view, so 360-degree camera, 4 cameras, 1 in the front, 1 in the back, and under each mirror cap there's 1 camera, and it gives you this bird view, which eases you a lot getting into a parking spot or just seeing how much space do I have to the side or to the back. And of course, it's not only a 330-degree camera, it's a normal camera. The one in the back works as well. The picture for the bird view is fine. For the rear camera, it could be a little bit more crisper, for my taste at least, but the colors come out good, so you can maybe take pictures this way. No, you can't, of course. Now, optional for the Passat Alltrack, you get the active info display. So normally you have classical round gauges. Here we have a 12.3-inch big display. You might know already from the Audi TT or even the Q7. And well, in the classical view, we have 2 round gauges. On the right side, the RPM meter going up to 6,000 RPM with a red range starting at 5,250, I guess. And on the right side, the speedometer going up to 260 kilometers per hour, and the car runs 205. So we have a little reserve here. I'm sorry, I have to save some power here because we are charging batteries and the battery of the car doesn't like this. Below on the round gauge on the left we have the temperature of the engine. On the right side we have the gauge for the fuel, how much more fuel is left in the tank, in our case how much more diesel we have. And you have 2 different views you can choose from. So even either you say I want big gauges, big round gauges, and in between a smaller part, or they scoot to the side a little bit and you have more in the center. In the center you can switch between navigation, audio, so everything from the infotainment system, the telephone, something about the car status, and well, the normal board computer, the digital speed you can put in here in a big way, as well as the assist systems and so on and so on. While you can change the view of the round gauges as well. You have a classical view with really pointers, or you can say in the middle of the round things I want something different. And I'm sorry, I have to start the car real quick so it can charge the batteries. That's weird, but however I have to do this. So we have the classical view, we have a fuel consumption view where it gives us different stuff inside the round things. efficiency as well, navigation, and one view for the assist systems. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can read it easily during daytime, and I know the Audi system, at least I've driven during nighttime, that's a good view as well. The difference between Audi and Volkswagen, however, is that Volkswagen is putting like little stripes up and down where they put different informations like the trip, how much kilometers you did on the trip, the altogether kilometers, the time, and the temperature, outside temperature. While Audi gives you more from the card view of the map view of the navigation. Yeah. By factory setting, you get an infotainment system with a 5-inch display. We, however, have the biggest system, and that's an 8-inch display, which shows you the whole card once you don't do anything, and once you put your hand closer, some buttons come up. That's a nice technique. Both systems you can, or both displays are easy to read, and I really like the phones they're using because, you know, even with, you know, fooling around your head, you can easily get all the information that you need or you want to pick up. That's good. Yeah, that's it. By the way, I'm just popping in the menu here. We have an ambient light, even one color only. There's an LED stripe in here and a little LED somewhere here in the grip that illuminates the compartment in the door as well, and some lights for the foot compartment, so you have a little light while you're driving and it's supposed to give you a nice atmosphere. As an option, you get a sunroof. We don't have it in our test car. And now I can put this out. We have a horn, and I will honk it for you. That's how it sounds like. And now on to the heart of our review, the compartment check. You know, when we started, this was the biggest thing for us. Nowadays we talk so much, or at least I talk so much, that you hardly know which is important. However, in the door panels we have not only space for this half a liter bottle of water, but at least a liter bottle fits in there as well. And beside, then you still have enough space for my notes or a wallet or CDs even. And the compartment goes on in a way so you don't even see. So I can push this bottle in this little hole back there and it almost disappears. So, you know, you can put there something like an umbrella, for instance, that you want to have in your car, or a warning vest. You know, you just have to keep in mind there is something in here. And if you have something else, it might scoot in the back. So, you know. However, next to the steering wheel on the left, we have another little compartment. There's clothes in there. So, yeah, just a compartment. It's big enough for a cigarette box, maybe. Don't smoke, so it's bad for your health. In front of the stick shift, we have what used to be the ashtray. See, it's still sort of an ashtray, and you have an anti-slip surface in here. I put the key in there because it fits in here, and what used to be the cigarette lighter is now a 12-volt outlet, and you can easily close it. Here are the cup holders, and this half a liter bottle fits in here perfectly because we have spacers on the side, and I really like spacers. I can't understand why there are still manufacturers that don't offer spacers for their cup holders, and I think even a 1 liter bottle will fit in here just alright. And you can close it to make it look nice and tidy. Next to the cup holder we have a little other compartment, anti-slip surface as well, good for some coins maybe. The armrest is adjustable. You can pull it forward and you can lift it up step by step to find the right position for your arm, Mr. Giant maybe. And you can open it. I got my iPhone in here, and it's noon, by the way. And you have a USB plug and a line in, aux in hook here as well, so everything to connect your external devices to the infotainment system. In the gloves compartment, there's at least space for the board material. I think you can put twice or at least twice as much as this in there. There are some holders for coins, for pen. You can cool it down once you put on the air condition. And we have the unit for the infotainment for the infotainment in there as well, with 2 SD card slots and a SIM card slot and a CD slot as well. And it's illuminated, of course, with an LED, by the way. Both shades, whatever, have makeup mirrors. They're illuminated by LED, and you have a ticket holder here right next to the mirror. There's a compartment for your sunglasses with an anti-slip surface as well. And I might point out that I like how big this compartment is, so even bigger shades might fit in here just alright. You have a reading light for the passenger. If you want to illuminate or read something as a driver, the passenger light comes on as well. And you can switch on and off the lights in the rear, and here you can prevent the light from getting turned on once you open the doors. Well, yeah, and we got handles on all 4 doors. And now just hopping in the back to show you around here as well, and I'm expecting lots of space. And even the door frame in the back is a little bit smaller than in the front. I have no problems at all getting inside the car, and here I'm even closer to the door. Okay, I have lots of space. Let me put it this way, I can almost dance here, you know, so much space. I'm 180 centimeters tall, so 5'11". I put the driver's seat in my perfect position, and so I'm sitting sort of behind myself, and look at this. I have more than plenty of headspace, and even to the side everything is fine. The seats, no. Let me give you Toby once again to show you how much space he got in here.
The driver's seat is put in my position. I'm 195 centimeters tall, so 6'5", and I'm impressed because I can sit behind myself without any problems. I have enough leg space. I can even move my feet. I can easily reach the headrest, and even to the side I don't have any problems. It feels very spacious even if you're taller, and yeah, that's perfect.
Well, thank you, Toby. So now we know how tall people feel inside the back of the Passat Alltrack. And I will just go on with our compartment check. Before I want to mention that the seats are almost formed out here, so that's pretty neat. And you have a little bit of side support even, very comfortable by the way. In the door panels we have space for this half-a-liter bottle, and I would even say 1 liter fits in here as well, and some other stuff. In the back of the backrest of the front seats we have little bags for magazines, newspapers and so on. In the middle we find the air outlets, and below that we see that our test car has three climate zones, one for the driver, one for the passenger, and a third one for the back. And we have even heated seats at the outer places. Below this we find this little lid, and there's a 12 volt outlet and even a 230 volt outlet, which you can use up to for 150 watts. There is indeed an armrest. It's pretty wide too, so even both people can use plenty of it. And there's a cup holder included. Unfortunately no spacers, but they have different sizes. So this bottle is shaking around in the first one, but in the last one it sticks alright. If you want to, you can even flip the whole thing, and now you can load stuff through here. Thinking about my kids, we have reading lights for the outer seats. There are Isofix hooks for child seats. We have stable or very stiff locks for the safety belts, so kids can buckle up themselves with ease. And the safety belts are even long enough to buckle up child seats or baby shelves. Now I have to turn on the ignition to show you, we have tinted glass here, privacy glass, and power-driven windows that fold in completely, which I like, and my kids as well. And we have a protection in here as well. See, no one can get stuck in here. I will turn off the ignition again. There are handles on both doors, I mentioned already, with little hooks for a jacket. Here's another hook on the B pillar. And what else did I miss? Did I miss anything? No, I think that's pretty much it. Oh well, I can scoot in the middle just real quick, because 5 seats actually. So I'm sitting fine with my butt, but the back, that's pretty hard indeed. And well, you can almost reach the locks for the safety belts. And just in case of the space, I think that even 3 grown-up my size can sit in here without it getting too cozy. Well, okay, I already got my jacket back out of the trunk and I unloaded the stuff. If you really want to see how I unload the trunk, well, go and watch the German clip. At this point, I would like to show you the key. The key is pretty simple. On the back side, you have the Volkswagen badge, and on the other side, 3 buttons. Unlock, lock, and open the trunk. You can open the trunk via this button on the key, just pressing the Volkswagen badge on the back, or with a button that is in the car in the door panel. I will choose this way now, and we have the electric lid going up. This way you have space for 639 liters or 23 cubic feet. And I would like to mention, our car is not equipped with the system, but I think it's neat, so I mention it. You know this easy open function where you fiddle around with your feet so the trunk opens? They have an easy close system now as well. What you're gonna do, you press this button. We don't have this feature, don't get me wrong, but it exists at least, you know. You press this button you press this button twice and then you start unloading, and with all the stuff in your hand you just walk away and the lid closes automatically once you disappear with the key from the car. I think that's a pretty neat feature. Well, looking in the trunk now, of course we have a privacy protection that you have to push twice so it goes all the way in. We have this little slider here to protect things from scooting around, so you can use it to tighten up certain stuff. We have a 12-volt outlet in the right side and hooks for bags and so on. 2 hooks on each side. Behind the wheels we have space. Here's a blanket, for instance, and on the other side there's another compartment as well. We can lift the floor, well, if we push this thing forward at least. And here we find a subwoofer of the premium sound system, as well as some tools, the first aid kit, warning vest, and so on and so on. And as well some sliders you can put on this rails here to push some other stuff in. Well, yeah, so let's start removing the privacy blinds, which is easy. Even the thing itself is pretty heavy. It's easy to remove, and I just want to check once. No. Okay. And now I can flip the seats easily, just pulling this hook on the sides, and they fall down 60. Well, I have to push here a little bit. 60% on the right side and 40% on the left side. Once we have flipped the back seats, we have space for 1,769 liters or 62 cubic feet. And that's measured up to the ceiling, of course. I've installed this divider here just to show it. Most of the time we don't have the time to show this, but this prevents all the luggage from hurting and harming you if you have to brake. However, you can remove this, of course. I've measured everything already for you. We have a width in the trunk of 1 meter, almost exactly 1 meter. You have a depth of 1 meter and 10 to this corner here. but if you flip up the seats, you have to subtract, no, what's the word? Whatever. You have 1 meter at least in depth. Up to the corner of the flipped back seat, we have 170 centimeters, and if you push the passenger seat to the very front, you even have a length of 2 meters, so you can store goods up to a length of 2 meters in here without problems. Well, it's good to have Toby on my side, because I was just thinking, what's this divider good for, except just like, you know, protecting goods from scooting around. It's always in my way. And Toby just went to the trunk and said, well, why don't you just remove it? Well, okay, you can at least remove it. Thanks, Toby. You can store up to 665 kilograms or 1,466 pounds inside the car, of which 100 kilograms can go on the roof, or 220 pounds. By the way, I closed the thing already, but it opens to a height of 2 meters and 5 centimeters. And if you want to lift goods from the ground to the car, you have to lift it up 68 centimeters. And this car is good for pulling trailers, of course, because you can pull trailers up to a weight of 2.2 tons if they have their own braking system. Otherwise, you're limited to 750 kilograms. Real quick, my driving experience with our test car, the 150 horsepower strong TDI engine in the Passat Alltrack. Well, I think this engine is actually perfect for everyday use if you don't need to drive very fast on the Autobahn. And since I'm talking English to you and we have a German clip, I suppose you're not in Germany, so the 150 horsepower engine should be fine for almost everyone. You don't feel that you don't have enough power at all. Yes, you can always accelerate a little bit faster and all that, but all in all, I think it's a pretty neat engine. We had a fuel consumption of 5.9 liters yesterday, and on the way back of 6.9 liters. On the first way I drove pretty calm, on the second way a little bit faster. So I think fuel consumption between 6 and 7 liters is realistic, while Volkswagen claim a fuel consumption of 5 liters, so 4.5 liters, 4.9 liters on 100 kilometers. Yeah, we have the manual transmission, and I think the manual transmission suits this engine much better than the DSG, because once you feel like the engine is not giving you enough power, you can shift yourself really quick, while the automatic transmission always kind of thinks for you, and sometimes you don't want the transmission to think for you. And I've driven the same engine in the Skoda Superb, or the Skoda Superb, and that was hooked to the 6-speed DSG transmission, dual clutch transmission, hopla, I'm sorry. And so I was rather pleased with the manual transmission in this way. I think it suits the car better, or the engine suits the manual transmission better. Okay, the manual transmission itself, you have very precise shifting ways. Could be a little bit shorter, but then we are not driving a race car or sporty car, so it's just fine, and very precise, which I enjoy, since you have to shift a lot if you want to drive all efficient with this car. And by the way, you have this efficiency view in the active info display, which shows you that every once in a while you should shift down as well. Okay, the sound of the car is not too disturbing, I guess. Well, if you have lots of RPM, or you don't shift early enough, it gets a little bit louder, but it's not that loud that you feel really disturbed. And even going faster with this car, well, we didn't drive too fast. I think 140 was the fastest we went. I think wind noises start around about 120 kilometers, but they are not disturbing. And the engine does not get so loud that you think, oh well, I have to raise my voice while talking to my passenger. However, the engine does not sound sporty at all in any way. It's a diesel overall. Okay, the steering is fine. I mean, we're talking about a sort of SUV car. For this, it's perfect. Actually, it's the same like in a normal Passat E-State version. So we have different driving modes in here, by the way. So we can choose between Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, yes, even Sport, Individual and Off-Road. And depending on the mode you're driving in, you can choose, or the steering gets a little bit stiffer or a little bit more direct, but even in Sport it's not like sporty direct. Well, I better check this out again, but I tried this out yesterday and I'm pretty sure that it is this way. Yeah, it gets a little bit more direct, gives you a good feedback in Sport, and that's what I like about this individual mode. Well, you have this fixed modes, and then you can say, well, let's go in individual, and you configure yourself the car in the way that you want. And so you can say, yes, I want the steering rather than Sport, while the suspension rather than Comfort. And the engine in Sport as well, or in Comfort or Eco. You can set a setting for the ACC, the dynamic cornering light, and the air conditioner as well, to your needs or to what you prefer at least. And so driving the steering in Sport is more fun than in Comfort, of course. While the suspension in Comfort is indeed comfortable, while it gets a little bit stiffer in Sport, but in Sport it does not get like really stiff sporty, just a little bit stiffer than sporty. On the other hand, while we were driving the Superb, the Skoda Superb, it has a really comfortable comfort setting. It's almost a French setting, you know, like old French cars. This is indeed a little bit stiffer, but still comfortable. I'm getting to the point, I'm sorry. Once you put the car in off-road, the suspension setting is put to Comfort, and we were driving some tiny graveled roads in the woods, and I was pretty amazed how much the suspension keeps away from my back. So in conjunction with the seats, it was really nice driving on those graveled roads. By the way, we do have an own off-road mode, which means that, as I told you, the suspension or the DCC is put in comfort mode, while the throttle, the pedal of the throttle, is put in another mode as well. It's not reacting as much as it does in the regular driving modes, because the car says, well, you're in off-road mode, so you're driving off-road and you don't want to accelerate hard off-road, but you rather want to push carefully around whatever you drive on. And the ABS, the braking system, is set in another mode as well. Normally you don't want the wheels to get blocked for perfect braking or slowing down, but on graveled road you might want to have this to have you know, the wheels push the stones off the road in front of you to something that helps slowing down the car as well. So that's the off-road mode. And by the way, in the infotainment system we have a view for driving off-road as well, with certain stuff I'm showing you here right now. I can't tell you much about the brakes. They slow down the car perfectly. Once you start putting your foot on the brake pedal, it starts slowing down, and you can really accept every tiny thing you do with your foot. So that's nice, and we didn't have to do any emergency brakes, so I can't tell you if they're right sized for the car, but I suppose so, because no one else told me that he had problems with his brake. It's unusual for us to get a test car on a driving event which is not filled with all the assist systems there are for the car. So we don't even have a blind spot warner in this car. We don't have a lane keeping assist, but from all the other videos you can watch on our channel, made by of Volkswagen cars, you can look this up. They all work the same way. I like the lane keeping assist, and the blind spot warner is working fine as well. In here we have a traffic sign recognition, which works with charm, at least here in Germany. We have the ACC, so the adaptive cruise control as well works perfectly. It's not like, you know, driving to the car in front of you and then suddenly slowing down, but it's all very smooth, and I like that. And I put something new in the car, some sort of emergency stop. Once all the sensors in the car come to the conclusion that the driver passed out or is not able to steer the car anymore, the car slows down automatically or autonomous. That's what I was, or pilot maybe even. And once the car's taking over, it turns on the warning signals, so the turning light indicators on both sides, and slowing down. So in case you faint or something, it stops the car and you don't get harmed by driving down some hills you don't want to. So, coming to the end of our pretty short review, isn't it? Well, I would like to sum it all up. Driving fun. Well, you know, I don't know. It's a 150 horsepower diesel, so driving fun is rather okay. You know, it's not a car that you buy to drive sporty. It's not a car that you buy to go cornering, you know. It's a car that you use for like gravel roads that you have to drive a lot or something else, or you like to go in the woods or pull trailers, whatever. It's okay. It's not driving fun. No, not driving fun in terms of driving sporty cars, but it's quite fun to drive in the woods on those gravel little roads and without, you know, having the fear of damaging your car. That's it, pretty much. Usage as a daily driver. Overall, we're talking about a Passat, a Volkswagen Passat E-State version. You have space. And space and space. Even Toby with his 195 centimeters can sit in the front as well as behind himself, and he has still lots of space. We have a huge trunk that you can fill up. You can load goods up to 2 meters without, you know, even worrying about it. So I say use it as a daily driver. Perfect. Fuel consumption. Volkswagen claims a fuel consumption of just 4.9 liter diesel on 100 kilometers. Yesterday we did a little trip of 70 kilometers. We were driving in the Munich area, and you can't really speed there because you have speed limits all over, and if you don't have speed limits, traffic is just crowded. But I was driving as an, well, not very sporty driver. I was actually trying to you know, shift early and all that, drive efficient, drive efficient. And I managed to get a fuel consumption of 5.9 liters during this trip. On the way back, we had a fuel consumption of 6.9 liters, and on the way back, I drove a little bit faster and we did this filming stuff in between. So I think realistic fuel consumption is between 5.9 and 6.9 liters. Yeah. What else is there? Comfort, driving comfort. I was pretty surprised for an, you know, all-terrain vehicle, you know. It is pretty comfortable. The DCC, the dynamic damper system, in the comfort setting gives you a pretty comfort ride, and it's quite nice. Well, you don't need a sport mode in this car, I guess. Well, all in all, what should I say? Is this really off-road vehicle, or is this rather more or less a lifestyle thing? I think for sure it's good to pull trailers, 2.2 tons. I mean, that says everything. I'm done. If you have any questions about our review, please let us know in the comments. We are trying to answer. If you enjoyed watching our review, why don't you give us a thumb up? We appreciate it. And if you really want to do something good for us, share our clip on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. That help us to grow. And even, you know, tell your buddies about our great format. At least if they have interest in a special car, we have lots of English reviews. And our English playlist, by the way, is linked in the descriptions. I'm Mr. Z. My English sucks. Still I'm here and do this again and again and again, and I will continue doing it. So I hope you tune in back next time. I'm saying goodbye. Stay safe. Once we have flipped the back seat, we have space for 1,700. Well, for the market start, Volkswagen is offering me. So we have a little bit more of ground. Oh, nochmal neu.